Hey y'all, this month I'm going to embark on a new adventure. I am going to be reading like Lexie from Books with Lexie. I'm really excited about this. She has in the past recommended a lot of books that have become favorites of mine. So I can't wait to see what this month holds, and I'm going to bring you all along on this adventure. So the first book I read is a huge surprise to me. It is a manga called Alice in Borderland. I have never read a manga before, never thought I'd be interested, and Alice in Borderland has proved me wrong. Once again, Lexi has come through for me. So the basic premise of Alice in Borderland is that 18-year-old Rohei, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Risu is sick of his life. His love life is a joke, school sucks, and when he thinks about his future, all he really feels is impending doom. And he struggles to exist in this world, and this world just can't be bothered with him. Rohei feels like everything would be okay if he could just escape. He feels like he'd be better anywhere else but where he is. So when a strange set of fireworks go off and transport him and his friends into a parallel universe, Rohei thinks his dreams have come true. But this brand new world is no paradise. It's a vicious game, and the only way to survive is to play. The first game starts with a bang, and Rohei is able to survive and save some of his friends in the process. So Alice in Borderland was a strong start for this little project, and I gave it 5 stars, and I cannot wait to continue the series and see if the rest of it is as good as Lexi says it is. One of the next books that Lexi chose me to read was The Stowaway by James S. Murray and Darren Wearmouth. This book is about a lady named Maria Fontana, who was the head of the psychology department at Columbia University. And a couple of years ago, she sat on a jury for one of the most depraved cases that had ever come through her town. Wyatt Butler, who was an antique watch restorer and an alleged serial killer, was portrayed in the courtroom as a brutal monster, but Maria, in good conscience, couldn't convict him based on circumstantial evidence. The media soon outed her as the lone juror, and her successful and quaint life was turned upside down. And of course, the victims of the killings never forgave her for not convicting the man who allegedly killed their loved ones. 2 years later, Maria and her family have decided to take a vacation to get away from everything. They're on a 2-week long transatlantic cruise. She is with her fiance Steve and her twin children, and of course, nobody should ever be able to bother. Should be able to bother. And of course, nobody should be able to bother her on this cruise. But when a passenger mysteriously disappears, Maria begins to wonder if maybe this was no coincidence. When another passenger is discovered brutally murdered in a similar way to Butler's ritualistic M.O., the ship goes on lockdown. Maria, who was only one of 12 people in the world with intimate knowledge of the case, faces perilous ticking clock. Is this a copycat? Or is she trapped on board with a bloodthirsty maniac that she chose to set free? This book was absolutely fantastic. It was fast-paced. It kept me so interested. And especially the end, I could not put it down. I had to finish it. In fact, I stayed up a little bit later than I normally would in order to finish this book. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. The third book that Lexi chose for me to read is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. This book is about a girl named Jade Daniels who is an expert on all things 80s slasher films. And you're not going to find a place less supportive of her, a girl who wears too much eyeliner and has ripped t-shirts, than her hometown of Proof Rock, Idaho. And Idaho is nestled up in a mountain alongside Indian Lake, which is a home to two things: Camp Blood, which was the site of a massacre 50 years ago, And as of this summer, it is also the home of Terra Nova, which is a second home celebrity Camelot being carved out of a national forest. But that's not the only thing that's getting carved up. Jay knows that this is the start of a slasher. But what kind of slasher is it going to be? Who's going to be wearing the mask? And Jay's got an encyclopedic recall of every horror movie on the shelf, but is that going to help her survive? And can she train a final girl to stop all this from happening? And does she even want to train a final girl? Isn't a slasher exactly what her hometown needs? This book was a fast-paced, start to finish, amazing book. I gave it 5 stars. I really related to Jade as someone who in high school didn't quite fit in all the way. So I fell in love with her from the very start. And as someone who's always enjoyed horror films, even though I've never really been an expert on slashers, I've always kind of enjoyed watching them. She was very relatable, and I found the townspeople, in a sense, almost comedic. Their relationships with each other were well written, but just with a tinge of dry humor, which is something else that I really enjoy. So if you enjoy horror films that revolve around slashers, this book will be for you. I want to take some time to thank Lexie for choosing some books for me to read. I really enjoyed her selections, and I think that she and I have similar styles of reading. And I also want to thank her for introducing me to manga. I'm going to continue to read the series that she chose for me to read, which is Alice in Borderland. In fact, I've already finished book 2 and will be moving on to book 3 as soon as I get it from the library. And I've really enjoyed these few days of reading the books that she's chosen for me. So thanks again, Lexie. I've had a lot of fun. And by the way, go subscribe to Lexie's channel.